We've been continuing here with Surah 4, Ayat 60. For some reason, he puts this as 63. So we've gone over that you void the prayer if in a state of an intoxication, sometimes medical intoxication, you don't have a choice. But in general, that's, the rule, and I've heard people that quit drugs because of that. Hast thou so sir the women from the J.M. Rodwell translation. Hast thou not marked those who profess that they believe in what hath been sent down to thee, and what hath been sent down before thee? Fain would they be judged before Talgut, the rebellion. Though judge before, though command not to believe in him, and fain would Satan make them wander with wanderings wide of truth. And when it is said to them, accede to that which God hath sent down to his apostle, thou seest the hypocrites. Okay, prelude. Okay, not. Thou seest the hypocrites avert them from thee with utter aversion, but how when some misfortune shall fortune them for their own handiwork, then will they come to thee, swearing by God, we desire nothing but to promote good and concord. These are they whose hearts God knoweth, therefore break off from them, and warn them, and speak words that may penetrate their souls. We have not sent any apostle but to be obeyed, if God so will. But if they, after they have sinned to their own hurt, come to thee and ask pardon of God, and the apostle asks pardon for them, they shall surely find that God is he who turneth merciful. So we also can pray for the righteous believers and those who've actually repented and that sort of thing. It's not limited to the prophet who hath died. And they will not, I swear by thy Lord, they will not believe until they have set thee up as judge between them on points where they differ. Then shall they not find in their own minds any difficulty in thy decision, and shall submit with entire submission. Had we sent down such a law for them as kill yourselves, or abandon your dwellings, but few of them would have done it. But had they done that to which they were exhorted, better had it been for them, and stronger for the confirmation. So, how, after this, can we possibly think that suicide, in any circumstance, even suicide to kill other people, but suicide mission, you go on a mission in war and you figure you're going to die, that's not the same thing as people who blow themselves up or shoot themselves and others, or, sort of thing. That's different. In that case, we had surely given them from ourselves a great recompense, and on the straight path should we surely have guided them. And people who don't understand Semitic languages don't get that there's a quantitative and qualitative plural. God's not clearly referred to in the singular. God is clearly referred to in the singular, but the qualitative plural is being used to refer that God's over, that royal we. And whoever shall obey God and the apostle, these shall be with those of the prophets, and of the sincere, and of the martyrs, and of the just, and of the martyrs, and of the just, to whom God hath been gracious. These are a goodly band. This is the bounty of God, and in knowledge doth God suffice. O ye who believe, make use of precautions, and advance in detachments, or advance in a body. There is of you who will be a laggard, and if a reverse befall you, he saith, Now hath God dealt graciously with me, since I was not with you in the fight. But if a success from God betide you, he will say, as if there had never been any friendship between you and him, would I had been with them, a rich prize should I have won. Let those then fight on the path of God, who barter this present life for that which is to come. For whoever fighteth on God's path, whether he be slain or conquer, we will in the end give him a great reward. But what hath come to you, that ye fight not on the path of God? And for the weak among men, women and children, who say, O our Lord, bring us forth from this city, whose inhabitants are oppressors. Give us a champion from thy presence, and give us from thy presence a defender. And that's exactly what it is. The jihad and the qatil fi sabilillah is, in defense of the oppressed. The attack. They who believe fight on the path of God, and they who believe not fight in the path of Taghut, the rebellion, the rebel. Fight therefore against the friends of Satan. Verily the craft of Satan shall be powerless. Hast thou not marked those to whom it was said, Withhold your hands a while, and observe prayer, and pay the stated alms? But when war is commanded them, lo, a portion of them fear men, as with the fear of God, or with a yet greater fear, and say, O our Lord, why hast thou commanded us Why hast thou commanded us war? Couldst thou not have given us respite till our distant end? Say, small the fruition of this world, but the next life is good for him who feareth God. And ye shall not be wronged so much as the skin of a date stone. Whether ye be, death will overtake you, although ye be in lofty towers. If good fortune betide them, they say, This is from God. And if evil betide them, they say, This is from thee. Say, all is from God. But what hath come to these people, that they are not near to understanding what is told them? Whatever good betideth thee is from God, and whatever betideth thee of evil is from thyself. And we have sent thee to mankind as an apostle. God is thy sufficient witness. Whoso obeyeth the apostle, in so doing obeyeth God. And as to those who turn back from thee, we have not sent thee to be their helper, their keeper. Moreover, they say, obedience. But when they Moreover, they say, obedience. But when they come forth from thy presence, a party of them brood by night over then thy works. But God writeth down what they brood over, and therefore separate thyself from them, and put thou thy trust in God. God is a sufficient protector. Can they not consider all Koran? Were it from any other than God, they would surely found in it many contradictions. And people actually who couldn't find contradictions have turned to the Word, and yet they couldn't find these discrepancies as a word repeated. So, in both ways, even the group that found over 5,000 errors in the Bible or contradictions couldn't find a single one. What it was it in Berlin, University of Berlin? Who did that study? That took up that challenge. And when tidings either of security or alarm reach them, they tell them abroad. They tell them abroad. But if they would report them to the apostle, and to those who are in authority among them, and those who desire information would learn it from them. But for the goodness and mercy of God towards you, ye would have followed Satan, except a few. Fight therefore on God's path, and lay not burdens on any but thyself, and stir up the faithful. The might of the infidels haply will God restrain, for God is the stronger in prowess, and the stronger to punish. So it is important to refer things to spiritual authorities, but obviously Quran and whatnot comes first. Satan, except a few. Fight therefore on God's path, lay not burdens on any but thyself, and stir up the faithful. The might of the infidels, misbelievers, haply will God restrain, for God is the stronger in prowess, and the stronger to punish. He who shall mediate between men for a good purpose shall be the gainer by it. But he who shall mediate with an evil mediation shall reap the fruit of it. And God keepeth watch over everything. But if ye are greeted with a greeting, then greet ye with a better greeting, or return it. God taketh count of all things. God, there is no God but He. He will certainly assemble you on the day of resurrection. There is no doubt of it. And whose word is more true than God's? Why are the two parties on the subject of the hypocrites, when God hath cast them off for their doings? Why are ye two parties on the subject of the hypocrites, when God hath cast them off for their doings? Desire ye to guide those whom God hath led astray? But for him whom God leadeth astray, thou shalt by no means find the pathway. They desire that ye shall be infidels, as they are infidels, and that ye should be alike. Take therefore none of them for friends, till they have fled their homes for the cause of God. If they turn back, then seize them and slay them wherever you find them, but take none of them as friends or helpers, except those who shall seek asylum among your allies, and those who come over to you, their hearts forbidding them to make war on you, or to make war on their own people. And God please, he would have given them power against you, and they would have made war upon you. But if they depart from you, and make not war against you, and offer you peace, then God alloweth you no occasion against them. And we continue with this theme, that the blasphemers, the disbelievers, and the apostates are never hurt, merely because that's what they are. The apostate, yeah, fine, kill the apostates. Uh, apostates is a better term than hypocrites here. I don't think the term. I don't think it says munafiqeen or munafiq. Um, munafiqun. See the exception. Anybody who's siding with your enemies that would fight and oppress you, that's attacking you, that's attacking other people. Why should we withhold our hands from those people? And certainly it's not because of what they claim to believe or disbelieve. Ye will find others who seek to gain your confidence as well as that of their own people. So oft as they return to sedition, they shall be overthrown in it. But if they leave you not, nor propose terms of peace to you, nor withhold their hands, then seize them and slay them wherever ye find them. Over these have we given you undoubted power. Unbeliever killeth not a believer, but by mischance, and whoso killeth a believer by mischance shall be bound to free a believer from slavery, and the blood money shall be paid to the family of the slain. The blood money shall be paid to the family of the slain, unless they convert it into alms. But if the slain believer be a hostile people, if the slain believer be of a hostile people, then let him confer freedom on a slave who is a believer. And if he be of a people between whom and yourselves there is an alliance, then let the blood money be paid to his family, and let him set free a slave who is a believer, and let him who hath not the means fast 2 consecutive months. And this is the penitence enjoined by God, and God is knowing wise. So, when it's somebody with an ally, it's a stricter crime. I mean, if it's of a nation that's an ally. But whoever shall kill a believer of set purpose, his recompense shall be hell. Forever shall he abide in it. And God shall be wrathful with him, and shall curse him, and shall get ready for him a great torment. So, how can we look at these people? So, these people aren't actual Muslim. If they're trying to murder a Muslim, Muslim, okay. Even I occasionally make a mistake and say a different word like Muslim. SubhanAllah. O believers, when ye go forth to the fight for the cause of God, be discerning, and say not to every one who meeteth you with a greeting, Thou art not a believer, in your greed after the chance of good things and of this present life. With God are abundant spoils, such hath been your wont in times of past, but God hath been gracious to you. Be discerning then, for God well knoweth what ye do. And those believers who sit at home, free from trouble, and those who do valiantly in the cause of God, with their substance and their persons, shall not be treated alike. God hath assigned to those who contend earnestly with their persons and with their substance a rank above those who sit at home. Goodly promises hath he made to all, but God hath assigned to the strenuous a rich recompense above those who sit at home. Rank of his own bestowal, and forgiveness and mercy, for God is indulgent, merciful. The angels, when they took the souls of those who had been unjust to their own will, demanded, "What hath been your state?" And they said, "We were the weak ones of the earth." And they replied, "Was not God's earth broad enough for you to flee away? And these their homes shall be hell, and evil the passage to it, except the men and women and children who were not able through their weakness to find the means, and were not guided in their way. And these haply will God forgive, for God is forgiving, gracious. Whoever flieth his country for the cause of God will find in the earth many under compulsion and abundant resources. And if anyone shall quit his home and fly to God and his apostle, and death overtaketh him, his reward from God is sure. For God is gracious, merciful. And when ye go forth to war in the land, it shall be no crime in you to cut short your prayers, if ye fear lest the infidels come upon you. Verily, the infidels are your undoubted enemies. So the misbelievers, that there has to be real fear, not just some paranoid, well, people don't like me praying sort of thing. No. And when thou shalt be among them, and shalt pray with them, then let a party of them rise up with thee, but let them take up their arms. And when they shall have made their prostrations, let them retire to your rear. And then let another party that hath not prayed come forward, and let them pray with you, but let them take their precautions and their arms. Please would the infidels be for you to neglect your arms and your baggage, that they might turn upon you at once, and it shall be no crime in you to lay down your arms if rain annoy you, or if ye be sick, but take your precautions. Verily God hath made ready a shameful torment for the infidels, misbelievers. And when ye shall have ended the prayer, make mention of God, standing, sitting, and reclining. And as soon as ye are secure, observe prayer. For to the faithful prayer is a prescribed duty, and for the stated hours slacken not in pursuit of the foe. If ye suffer, surely they suffer also as ye suffer. But ye hope from God what they cannot hope, and God is knowing wise. Verily, we have sent down the book to thee with truth, that thou mightest judge between men according as God hath given thee insight. But with the deceitful ones dispute not, and implore pardon of God. Verily God is forgiving, merciful. And verse 107 of Surah 4 is a very important one in regards to the legal system in most countries, because you don't argue on behalf of the liar. So defense attorneys and prosecuting attorneys that are trying to twist the facts, rather than knowingly presenting, all the other side has a superior case, I have to drop it. Or well, maybe they don't have to drop it, they just have to be honest. If you know your client's lying, you don't argue on their behalf to try to make them seem innocent if they're not innocent, nor the other way around. If there's reason to think a person is guilty, a prosecuting attorney is very much in the wrong. They're trying to make the person seem guilty. Of course, the prosecuting attorney has the upper hand. So there's a significant portion, maybe 10% of those behind bars for anything more serious than a drug offense is, well, actually, including the drug offenses, a good 10% of people are probably innocent. Because there's not innocent till proven guilty, unless you're rich, or you have some significant on your side. And plead not with us for those who are self-deceivers, for God loveth not him who is deceitful criminal. So divine love is not for. So from the Kawana Nathan, yeah. From men they hide themselves, but they cannot hide themselves from God. And when they hold nightly discourses which please him not, he is with them, and God is round about their doings. So whether you're doing good or bad, God's with you. So saying God's with you doesn't mean that God supports you. God's just present. O ye who are they, O ye are they who plead in their favor, and in this present life, but who shall plead with God for them on the day of resurrection? Who will be the guardian over them? Yet he who doeth evil, or shall have acted against his own will, and then shall ask pardon of God, will find God forgiving, merciful, and whoever committeth a crime committeth it to his own hurt, and God is knowing wise, and whoever committeth a fault or crime, and then layeth it on the innocent, shall surely bear calumny, and of a manifest crime. But for the grace and mercy of God upon thee, a party among them had resolved to mislead thee, but they shall only mislead themselves, nor in naught shall they harm thee. God hath caused the book and the wisdom to descend upon thee, and what thou knowest not he hath caused thee to know, and the grace of God towards thee hath been great, and most of their secret talk is nothing good, but only in his who enjoineth almsgiving, or that which is right, or concord among men. Whoso doth this out of desire to please God, we will give him at the last a great reward. But whoso shall sever himself from the prophet after that the guidance hath been manifested to him, and shall follow any other path than that of the faithful, we will turn our back on him, as he hath turned his back on us, and we will cast him into hell, an evil journey thither. Evil's and bad. Although it is the end of the evil journey. God truly will not forgive joining other gods with himself. Other sins he will forgive to whom he will, but he who joineth gods with God hath erred with far gone error. They call besides him upon mere goddesses. They invoke a rebel Satan. I think the feminine of Satan is mentioned there. But that makes more sense as sort of the unforgivable sin if you die with it, that you have worshipped other than God, rather than if you doubt that there's this third member of the Trinity, which is really the Holy Spirit, that is Gabriel, so it's not really a God at all. That if you doubt it, then somehow you're, you know, makes more sense. That's something more tangible. That's something you've done. On them is the malison of God, for he said, a portion of thy servants will I surely take, and will lead them astray, and will stir desires within them, and I will command them that they shall cut the ears of animals, and I will command them that they shall alter the creation of God. He who taketh Satan rather than God for his patron, he is ruined with the palpable ruin. He hath made them promises, and he hath stirred desires within them, but Satan promiseth only to beguile. These their dwelling in. Okay, I better check. These their dwelling hell, no escape shall they find from it. And so 119 and 120 Okay, 121 is this last sentence or two that I said. But he who taketh Satan rather than God for patron. Uh, so 119, verily I will mislead them to, or nothing but deceptions, is sort of the tarot card of the devil in the Quran. The Quran doesn't write any devil cards. Christians need to stop saying, well, there's no tarot cards in church. It's like, well, but the images and themes are in there in the images. And here's a church with all 78 of the cards. But no, the Satan doesn't Satan doesn't offer anything uniquely good or true, but twists them. He takes creation, leads you to do something unnatural, leads you to do something, to twist the truth. And so the he said is obviously Iblis, which is mentioned 10 times in the Quran by name, and sort of a secret mention 5 times. But they who believe and do the things that are right, we will bring them into gardens beneath which the rivers flow. Forever shall they abide therein. Truly it is the promise of God, and whose word is more sure than God's. Not according to your wishes are the wishes of the people of the book. Shall these things be? He who doth evil shall be recompensed for it. Patron or helper besides God shall he find none. So remember, this people of the book, referring to Christians and the Jews and other past nations, um, well, they made themselves Christians and Jews, but anyways, that's a different issue. They're lessons for us. How can we be people of Scripture and not do this? How can we, saying, look at the past, look at what people did before Quran, and not according to your wishes are the wishes of the people of the book. Shall these things be? He who doth evil shall be recompensed for it. Patron or helper besides God shall he find none. But whoso doth the things that are right, whether male or female, and he or she is a believer, these shall enter paradise, nor shall they be wronged the skin of a date stone. So obviously we're not talking a sexist thing where, well, men get the upper hand in terms of paradise, and women, they don't quite get the same thing for the same work. No, they do. But whoso doth the things that are right, whether male or female, and he or she is a believer, these shall enter paradise, nor shall they be wronged the skin of a date stone. And who hath a better religion than he who resigneth himself to God, who doth what is good, and followeth the faith of Abraham in all sincerity? And God took Abraham for his friend. All that is in the heavens and all that is on the earth is God's, and God encompass all things. Moreover, they will consult thee in regard to women. Say, God hath instructed you about them, and his will is rehearsed to you in the book concerning female orphans, whom ye give not their legal due, and whom ye refuse to marry. Also with regard to weak children, and that ye deal with fairness towards orphans. Ye cannot do a good action, but verily God knoweth it. So among the rights of the women is the other people that are in lower position in society, and that of course includes children. And if a wife fear ill usage or aversion to the part of her husband, then shall it be no fault in them if they can agree with mutual agreement, for agreement is best. Souls are prone to avarice, but if ye act kindly and fear God, then verily your actions are not unnoticed by God. And ye will not have it all in your power to treat your wives alike, even though ye fain would do so, but yield not wholly to disinclination, so that ye leave one of them as it were in suspense. If ye come to an understanding and fear God, then verily God is forgiving, merciful. So, when it comes to material things, you have to be very equitable, and you keep track of that by taking turns or keeping note or whatever. I mean, if somebody needs help for medical condition or needs more food than the other one to survive or needs something different, that's a little bit different, but as equal as one can be, and that sort of thing. So verily God is forgiving, merciful. And but if they separate, God can compensate both out of his abundance, for God is vast, wise, and whatever's in the heavens and in the earth is God's. We have already enjoined those to whom the scriptures were given before you and yourselves to fear God. But if ye become unbelievers, yet know that whatever's in the heavens and in the earth is God's, and God is rich, praiseworthy. All that is in the heaven and all that is in earth is God's. God is a sufficient protector. If he pleased, he could cause you to pass away, O mankind, and create others in your stead. For this hath God power, and if anyone desire the reward of this world, yet with God is the reward of this world and of the next, and God heareth, beholdeth. O ye who believe, stand fast to justice, when ye bear witness before God, though it be against yourselves, or your parents, or your kindred, whether the party be rich or poor, God is near to you both. Therefore follow not passion, lest ye swerve from truth. And if ye rest or stand aloof, verily God is well aware of what ye do. And of course, the things that have to do with criminal punishment are not secrets that you have to keep in the family. No, why a family member killed somebody, better cover it up. No, don't be an accomplice. Don't keep it silent. If you're a priest and somebody confesses to molesting a child, I mean an actual child, you don't keep that secret. O ye who believe in God and his apostle, and the book which he hath sent down to the apostle, and the book which he hath sent down aforetime. Whoever believeth not on God and his angels and his books and his apostles, and in the last day he verily hath erred with far gone error. Verily they who believed, then became unbelievers, then believed, and again became unbelievers, and then increased their unbelief. It is not God who will forgive them, or guide them into the way. Announce to the hypocrites that a dolorous torment doth await them. Those who take unbelievers for friends besides the faithful, do they seek honor at their hands? Verily all honor belongeth unto God, and already hath he sent down to you in the book, when ye shall hear the signs of God, they shall not be believed, but they shall be mocked at. Sit ye not therefore with such, until they engage in other discourse, otherwise ye will become like them. Verily God will gather the hypocrites and the infidels all together in hell. So, when people make fun of true beliefs, true practices, you abandon them. But if they don't believe these things, you don't have to abandon them until, except in the times where they're going to do this, and you don't keep company with people who you're going to expect they're going to mock you for your religion. Um, Whatever your faith, that's a completely logical thing to do. They watch you narrowly, then if God grant you a victory, they say, are we not with you? And if the infidels, misbelievers, meet with the success, they say to them, Were we not superior to you, and did we not defend you from those believers? God shall judge betwixt ye on the day of resurrection, and God will by no means make a way for the infidels over the believers. And that's sort of the thing. Some people are all, oh, we wish we were with you. We would have been with you if you win, and if you lose, well, okay. They go to the other side, and we were supportive of you. It's neither side should trust these people. The hypocrites would deceive God, but he will deceive them. When they stand up for prayer, they stand carelessly to be seen of men, and they remember God but little. And you see people, whether it's the minor intoxicants or the major intoxicants, or whether it's something else. These people, they don't stay still in the prayer. They're all looking about, and they don't show up when it's a small crowd. But they show up when there's a big crowd. Some of these people are being authentic in it. Some of them are not. Wavering between the one and the other, belonging neither to these nor those, and by no means shalt thou find a path for him whom God misleadeth. O believers, take not infidels for friends rather than believers. Would ye furnish God with clear right to punish you? Verily the hypocrite shall be in the lowest abyss of the fire, and by no means shalt thou find a helper for them, save for those who turn and amend, and lay fast hold on God, and approve the sincerity of their religion to God. These shall be with the faithful, and God will at last bestow on the faithful a great reward. And of course, there's that sort of thing that they're about the holding fast to, that God's there. This is for God, trying to be in what I call the state of absolute righteousness, where all you do is, the right thing. Which also compares to the Yad Naman, the undefiled knowledge state. So, trying to merge those together. Yad Naman is Enochian, not Arabic or English or anything. The faithful reward. Why should God inflict the chastisement upon you if ye are grateful and believe? God is grateful, wise, and verse 148, divine love is not for this mention of evil, for entertainment. Please, people, please stop it with this. I know Law and Order and other shows are merely mentioning crime, not to deal with the issue. You're just wasting your time talking about crime. You're not addressing the issue. You're watching crime shows or reading crime books, which is fine in the proper context, but anyways. God loveth not that evil be a matter of public talk, unless any one hath been wronged. God it is who heareth, knoweth. Verily ye publish what is good, or conceal it, or pardon evil, and verily God is pardoning, powerful. Of a truth, they who believe not on God and his apostle, and seek to separate God from his apostle, and say, some we believe and some we believe not, and desire to take a middle way. And that's sort of the thing all along. One of the very common things nowadays is that people will say, oh, well, it's not in Quran. Well, Quran is obey God and the messenger. Obviously, the messenger is not going to have any final term that is contradictory to Quran. So if you really believe it, you refer things to the Quran, you're looking for specific guidance of that issue, the example and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. If you really believe that Muhammad said this, the Quran should be our criterion of trying to figure some of that out. Go with it. And of course, try to figure out what the final word is, because sometimes later sayings were kind of the earlier, and then the Quran was the final word, and the Quran says it's the final word in that regard. But anyways, These they are veritable infidels, and for the infidels have we prepared a shameful punishment. And they who believe on God and His apostle and make no difference between them, these will we bestow on them their reward at last. God is gracious, merciful. The people of the book will ask of thee to cause the book to come down unto them out of heaven. You know, not the afterlife, the skies and the universes. And but a greater thing than this. Then they asked of Moses, for they said, show us God plainly. For this their wickedness did the firestorm lay hold on them. Then they took the calf. After that, our clear tokens had come to them, but we forgave them this, and confirmed on Moses' undoubted power. So was the calf, Hathor, that they were worshipping, was it a form of Baal, a lord besides God? Was it some other concept of a false divinity? It doesn't really matter so much, and whether the clear tokens had come to them. But we forgave them this and conferred on Moses' undoubted power. So if you forget of your misassociation, of your sihr, or whatever, if you repent, God can forgive. Even such serious offenses as something directly involving God. And we uplift, the rights of God. Everything involves God directly, but anyway. And we uplifted the mountain over them when we made a covenant with them. And we said to them, enter the gate adoring. And we said to them, transgress not on the Sabbath. And we received from them a strict covenant. And Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, the Sabbath. In Arabic, it's not an observance to our nation, it was an observance to the children of Israel. And we received from them a strict covenant. So for that they have broken their covenant, and have rejected the signs of God, and have put the prophets to death unjustly, saying the while, our hearts are uncircumcised. Nay, but God hath sealed them up for their unbelief, so that but few believe. They're saying, well, you can't circumcise the heart. Well, uncircumcised is also the natural state. So the fitrah is sealed up for their unbelief, so that but few believed. And for their unbelief, and for their having spoken against Mary of a grievous calumny, and for their saying, verily we have slain the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary, an apostle of God, yet they slew him not, and they crucified him not, but they had only his likeness, and they who differed about him were in doubt concerning him. No sure knowledge had they about him, but followed only an opinion, and they did not really slay him, but God took him up to himself. And God is mighty wise. God took him up to himself. Does this say that? There shall not be one of the people of the book, but shall believe in him before his death, and in the day of resurrection he will be witness against them for the wickedness of certain Jews, and because they turn many from the way of God, and we have forbidden them goodly viands which have been before allowed them, and because they have taken usury, though they were forbidden it, and have devoured men's substance in frivolity, we have got ready for the infidels among them a grievous torment. And okay. Oh, God raised him unto himself. Well, there's narrations that Prophet Muhammad spoke that the Jews tried to kill. Some of the Jews tried to kill Jesus, and he was saved. And there's other things that said, well, there was somebody like him that was killed instead. is one of the teachings of Islam, and also that he was saved from being stoned another time. And with that verse 158, God rose him. It's not but God rose. Bal Rafa, but we also see in the Quran that he died first. So we need to take this into context. But the men of solid knowledge, and the believers who believe in that which hath been sent down to thee, and what hath been sent down before thee, and who observe prayer and pay the alms of obligation, and believe in God and the latter day, these will we give them a great reward. And of course we can believe that God took Jesus, the prophet behind the Jesus story, and gave him a scent. God can do such a thing, but why is it mentioning the death before the ascension? And it's obviously in the context right there of, liberated over how they differ. But there are men of solid knowledge, and the believers who believe in that which hath been sent down to thee, and in what hath been sent down before thee, and who observe prayer, and pay the alms of obligation, a 40th of your savings every year, and believe in God and the latter day, and these will we give them a great reward. Verily we have revealed to thee as we revealed to Noah, and the prophets after him, as we have revealed to Abraham, and Ismail, and Isaac, and Jacob, and the tribes, and Jesus, and Job, and Jonah, and Aaron, and Solomon, and to David we gave psalms, original psalms. Of some apostles we have told thee before, of other apostles we have not told thee. And discoursing did God discourse with Moses, apostles charged to announce and to warn, that men after those apostles might have no plea against God, and God is mighty wise.